What's going on YouTube? We're back here with another video on CZN, and we're going to be having the Ultimate 9 guide video for you guys here today, where we're going to go over all the good things, best cards, best partners, save data you want to try to acquire, potential priorities, memory fragments that you want, and if you really need dupes on 9, and last but not least, team comps as well. First thing we're going to get into is we're actually going to be skipping cards, because I guess we're going to go over cards when we talk about the save data. But let's go over partners. So when it comes to partners, obviously Alsea is going to be her best in slot, because that's just how gacha games work nowadays. But if you don't want to go for the partner, trust me, honestly, this one is good enough, especially if you're able to max dupe it, because, you know, say if you've been playing for a while, you've been able to summon, get this card a few times. I believe you could also buy it when you complete Baton of Hyperspace if you want to with that currency. But yeah, this partner is going to be really good, because it's going to give you that morale, which is going to allow you to do more damage. So if you're able to partner up with like maybe a Hue level 3 or a Hue level 5, you could do additional damage. Obviously here, when the assigned combatant targets a vulnerable enemy, plus 20% defense base damage of attack cards. 9 does defense damage. And here the assigned combatant's defense is increased by 24%, which is also nice, because 9 actually low-key needs as much defense as you could get. Well, basically you just need 400 defense, and having that partner will definitely help you to get that defense. So yeah, don't want to go for Alsea, you could definitely go for this partner. Is Alsea worth getting? Look, it's hard to say worth or not, because you can just go with this and still clear everything in this game. But if you do want to see bigger numbers, yes. If this is her best partner, yes. You know, it's just up to you at that point. You know, do you want to see bigger numbers, and do you want to get the best in slot? Now, the next thing we're going to get into is save data. So it's going to be very interesting, because I feel like there's numerous ways to build 9, as you guys have probably seen as well. And well, we all know she's obviously insane with Aurelia as well, but Aurelia herself is just totally insane with what she could do. But here we do have an extreme build with 4 fighting spirits, so you do want to copy fighting spirits as much as possible, so you could use your Hue, you know, multiple times in a turn, and you know, a lot, because it only costs 1 AP. Plus, the great thing about copying fighting spirit is that you don't need a specific epiphany, and it's kind of easy, because you could also get rid of her other cards, and this having unique also helps, you know, just being able to get the right dupe that you need, because you can't dupe Hue as well. So every time you go to dupe, you're always going to have Experience Strike, Fatal Strike, or Fighting Spirit, so it's really easy to get her 4 dupes. Now you can build it this way, how I built it, you know, with a Spore Harvester to do that additional damage, you know. Yeah, as I said, 4 fighting spirits. You could go for Hue Extreme. You could go for a Hue Massacre as well, you know, if you just want to be able to just do some nice AoE. And Hue Ironclad is also not that bad either. And with the Counterblade, honestly, I think the Initiation one's probably the best. And when shield is gained through an ability, One Honed Edge. But if you're not using Ironclad or anything, the best to go with is probably going to be when a card is exhausted, One Honed Edge. But yeah, if you could get like a 1 AP on that or something, that would be pretty nice. And yeah, you could also get rid of these 2 cards here, because mostly you're just playing Hue anyway, so you really don't need Experience Strike or Fatal Strike. So that's why I went with a build like this. Obviously you can see this one's a lot more different. I actually kept Experience Strike and Fatal Strike with Massacre. We have an Ironclad one here as well, which was I really like Ironclad, especially partnered up with Residue Herb. And if I could, I would have loved to got the Initiation Counterblade with when shield is required, the Initiation one, because with Residue Herb I could get a whole bunch of shield, which is going to proc a whole bunch of Honed Edge, which is going to, you know, allow me to do additional damage, which is going to help. Especially because there is a refinement you could get where it's like, draw your exhaust card straight away, you know, and Hue's already in your hand. So it would draw Residue Herb for me, you know, if I was to get that refinement. So you could really make a very, very nice, cool Ironclad build with 9 if you want to. But yeah, as I said, 9's got various ways you could build her, with Extreme, with Massacre, with Ironclad. keeping the other 2 cards or even taking away those 2 cards, and also a small deck like this if you've got an Olea I should really say, and you're just really buffing up your Hugh, you know. Yeah, small deck like this is really good because you could just keep piling up on Olea's cards. So yeah, various ways to build 9. I think extreme, obviously, if you want to see big target DPS, but I would say, you know, try to build all 3 of them, you know, why not? Now, potential priorities, obviously you can skip these 2 and go to 10 on this one, go to 5 on this one, and 5 on this one, and level this one up. Pretty much the norm when it comes to DPS characters. You're leveling up the unique cards, their crit rate, crit damage, or whatever is here, and usually this node up here as well. Then with memory fragments, we do have her on Beast Yearning, which I believe is best in slot with Executioner's Tool. So increase damage amount of Justice and Order exhaust cards by 30%, 5 times per turn. Obviously her being Order and being able to exhaust Hugh is gonna, you know, give her that additional damage, and that 25% crit damage is also gonna be nice as well. And here you could just go with defense, order damage, and crit chance, obviously. And substats you're probably going to be looking for is going to be defense, crit chance, and crit damage. Like, this one is near enough perfect. You know, my dream would obviously for it to be probably go into crit chance twice, crit damage twice. You know, if I could get down like all pieces, that would be freaking insane. Like, that would be the dream, right? And obviously if you could get that 60% crit chance with 200% crit damage, that would be dope as well. Now, can you use other gear pieces? Yes, but this is definitely going to be the best in slot. You could go with 2-piece crit damage, 2-piece defense if really need be. Maybe you could get by with using the other order set, but I would say definitely work your way to get to Beast Yearning and get this set for her. Now, Manifest Ego, do you need it? Nope. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really feel like you need it. This could be kind of nice, but honestly, with all the mechanics in this game, you know, maybe getting vulnerable on an enemy is actually not that too hard. This is really nice with the 1 vulnerable, 1 tenacity damage, especially if you're probably running her with a what's her name, a Serennial, you know. And that vulnerable is always going to be nice because it's going to allow you to do a lot of damage. You know, this could also be nice as well if you're fighting multiple enemies and you have a Hue Extreme. You know, like, her dupes are not bad, but I just don't feel like it's needed. Like, if you want to do more damage, see bigger numbers, yes, but can she clear everything in the game E0? Hell yeah. Now, with all of that out of the way, we're gonna get into team comps. Her team comps are very interesting because she could technically work with everyone, because all you really need to do is use her Hue, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, obviously Naja could work really well. Entombment's always going to be nice with any character. Like, Naja's always going to be insane because she could heal and buff damage. So yeah, and to be fair, you could get some very nice save data. Like, look at this save data. I'm basically using Naja and she's not using any AP. You know, she's going to give me a ton of veracity, predation, you know, healing, damage buff is amazing. You know, obviously I think the dream would probably be to be able to get Bottomless Hunger, free veracity, the next 2 times veracity is activated. This probably with 1 AP, or even if I was able to get voluntary control with like 1 AP, I don't know if it is possible, that would have been nice. But yeah, you can make some nice like 0 cost Naja decks, which is just gonna fit into a lot of team comps. But yeah, obviously 9 could work well with her. I think 9 could work well with Chizuru as well. I think obviously Veronica, she could work nicely as well. Serennial, of course. Luke, yes. Kalipe, yes. Especially if you get some save data like that, you know, you use your Hue and you got all your Vulture ejections in your hand. Oh yeah, that's going to be nice. And you're popping all 3 of them at the same time with Hue. Then she pops off her Silver Veil. You could do some very nice damage. Nia, of course, works well. Selena, probably, but you're probably gonna need like a card that gives you AP in first turn. Mika, of course, but yeah. Ray, yeah, could work. You know, defense units, I'm pretty sure that you could find a way to make them work. And I think I've even seen that Owen could be nice as well, because he could add another hit to the Hugh. So, you know, that could always, that's actually kind of crazy, because her Hugh can go insane and do some crazy numbers even without an Olea. So having Owen to just give that one additional hit could also be nice, to be fair. But yeah, her team comps, as I said, is weird because she could work with everyone, but it's mostly because you're going to be using her cards. So you're just going to be able to get by with it. But in terms of real like team comps, I think definitely characters like Naja, Chizuru, Serennial, Kalipe, Luke, Nia are really going to be the go-tos. But yeah, overall 9, amazing character. Hope with this guide build video it helps you guys out on how you could go with building 9. As I said, she's really interesting because you could build her several different ways. And honestly, when it comes to building her, you probably want to try to get one where you could get a fair amount of refinements as well, because a lot of the refinements suit her. You know, it's like, oh, exhaust cards, this amount of damage, or if you have more than 18 cards, this amount of damage. And obviously that's going to help a DPS character like 9. So if you could get all those refinements, that would be dope. But look, that's going to be it from your boy. Like, subscribe, run up. Catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.